Welcome to Movies We Love. Today we will look at a science fiction classic thriller entitled Blade Runner. The movie begins in an alternate reality. The year is 2019. The place, Los Angeles. Synthetic humans are now a reality. They are known as replicants. They are stronger and more agile than ordinary humans. They are also now illegal on the planet Earth. A special police team, known as Blade Runners, are responsible for the elimination of any rogue replicants. It's not called execution, it's called retirement. At the Tyrell Corporation, a Blade Runner named Holden is interviewing a new employee using a special device called a VK analyzer. The machine is designed to detect any physical responses that expose the subject emotionally, thus revealing that person actually being a replicant. After a few questions, the man being tested, Leon, becomes obviously agitated and eventually hostile. Leon suddenly snaps and shoots Holden. Next, we see Rick Deckard, a former Blade Runner. He sits down to eat on the street at a Japanese noodle bar. Another man, named Gaff, tells him he's under arrest. Deckard tries to ignore the man, but when he hears that a man called Bryant is asking for him, he eventually agrees to come. Gaff flies Deckard by spinner to police headquarters and delivers Deckard to his old boss. Deckard is clearly not happy. Bryant tells Deckard that there are 4 replicants loose on the streets and he needs Deckard to retire them. Deckard is not interested and tries to leave, but Bryant successfully pressures him into accepting with a veiled threat. They watch footage of Leon's VK test as Bryant explains that 4 Nexus 6 replicants murdered 23 people on an off-world colony and then stole a shuttle to Earth. Suspecting that they might try to infiltrate the Tyrell Corporation, Holden was tasked with testing the new employees. The leader is a replicant named Roy Batty, the most advanced and intelligent of the group. The others are Zora, Pris, and Leon. Bryant also tells Deckard that as a failsafe, the scientists designed the Nexus 6s to have only a 4-year lifespan. Bryant sends Deckard to the Tyrell headquarters to test the VK machine on a Nexus 6 model. Deckard is welcomed by Rachel, Tyrell's personal assistant. Dr. Tyrell appears and offers Rachel as a test subject, saying he wants to see a negative test result on a human before providing a replicant to be tested. Deckard sets up the VK machine and proceeds with the standard questions. The VK machine finally alerts him that she is a replicant. Deckard is surprised, because it usually takes 20 to 30 questions to identify a normal replicant. Tyrell reveals that Rachel is unaware that she is synthetic, although she may be beginning to suspect. He explains that replicants may become unstable because of the short time they have to learn basic experiences. Rachel is an experimental replicant who has been designed with implanted memories. The memories serve as a buffer, which allows replicants to better control their behavior. Deckard proceeds to the personal address that Leon gave in his VK test. In Leon's apartment, he finds a stack of photographs in one of the drawers. He is not aware that Leon is watching him from a short distance. Not far away, Roy Batty is waiting on the street for Leon. Leon appears and tells Roy that there were policemen and he was unable to retrieve his photographs. Roy is perturbed, but takes Leon with him to a shop called iWorld, owned by a Chinese man named Hannibal Chu, who engineers replicants' eyes. Leon rips open Chu's thermal coat, exposing him to sub-zero temperature. Desperate and freezing Chu tells him that a Tyrell employee named J.F. Sebastian can gain access to the big boss. Deckard returns home and is surprised by Rachel in the elevator. Deckard, feeling caught off guard, is rude to her. She has learned that the VK machine exposed her as a replicant, but she's come to debunk the machine's claims. She shows Deckard a picture of herself with her mother. Deckard callously quashes her insistence that she has an actual past. She's so hurt she starts crying, and when Deckard brings her a drink, she runs off. In another part of Los Angeles, a woman walks into an alley and covers herself with waste paper to keep warm. A man approaches her and startles her awake. The woman is revealed to be Pris. One of the Nexus 6's Deckard is pursuing. The man is J.F. Sebastian, a genetic designer for the Tyrell Corporation and the person Chu told Roy to find. Pris agrees to stay at Sebastian's hotel, where he lives alone and designs lifelike toys and dolls. Deckard tracks Zora and finds that she poses as an exotic dancer at a nightclub. After the show, Deckard poses as an irritating union representative and tries to speak with her. Zora sees through Deckard's ruse, beats him violently, and is almost at the point of killing him, until she is disturbed by a few other dancers entering the room. She dashes from the club into the overcrowded streets. Deckard searches through the hordes of pedestrians and finally spots Zora. She runs again, but Deckard is able to aim and hit her moving target. Zora crashes through several plate glass windows and falls to the street, dead. Deckard doesn't notice, but Leon is across the street watching. Bryant arrives on the scene and congratulates him for finding and retiring Zora. He tells Deckard that there are 4 more replicants to retire. Deckard insists that there are only 3 left. Bryant tells him that Rachel has disappeared, so Deckard now has to retire her as well. Bryant leaves, and Deckard spots Rachel a few moments later across the street. Deckard attempts to catch up with Rachel. Suddenly, he's grabbed by Leon. Deckard attempts to fight, but it's useless. Leon is too powerful and beats him severely. When Leon says, "Wake up! Time to die,"
Wake up! Time to die.
and is poised to stab his fingers through Deckard's eyes, his forehead explodes. He has been shot by Rachel using Deckard's own pistol. Deckard returns to his apartment, and Rachel joins him. Rachel seems to have accepted the truth about herself, and Deckard appears to be much more sympathetic toward her since she saved him from Leon. He gives her a drink, and as he cleans himself up, she asks him if he'd hunt her down, should she disappear to the north. He tells her he wouldn't, but someone else surely would. Pris makes herself at home in Sebastian's apartment. Suddenly, Roy appears. He sadly shares the news that Zora and Leon are both retired. Roy and Pris reveal to Sebastian that they are both Nexus 6 models and they need his help. Pris will need help or she'll die. Sebastian says that he only does genetic design, but Roy notices that Sebastian plays chess and asks him about his opponent, who is Tyrell himself. Roy gently coerces Sebastian to use his connection to Tyrell to arrange a personal meeting. Sebastian reluctantly agrees. Roy and Sebastian go to Tyrell's pyramid-like home and take an elevator to his penthouse. They are stopped as a security measure, but are allowed to proceed when Sebastian voices 2 moves to Tyrell himself that win the chess match they'd been playing. The last winning move is given by Roy. Tyrell is fascinated by the bold move and invites Sebastian in. In Tyrell's bedchamber, Sebastian introduces Roy, but Tyrell seems to have been expecting Roy for some time. Roy confronts his creator, saying specifically that he wants an extension of his short lifespan. Tyrell explains that he is unable to do that. Roy proposes several biological interventions to prolong his lifespan, but Tyrell dismisses all of them as ineffective, saying that they have made him almost perfect, though not to last. Roy becomes despondent, but Tyrell comforts him, saying that the light that burns twice as bright burns half as long, and you have burned so very, very brightly. Roy, still despondent, kisses Tyrell, then begins to crush his skull, poking his thumbs through his creator's eyes. Tyrell falls dead as the horrified Sebastian watches. Next, we see Deckard is in his car on the street. He receives a report from Bryant. who tells him that Tyrell and Sebastian have been found dead. Deckard places a call to Sebastian's apartment, claiming to be a friend. Pris answers the call, but hangs up without a word. Deckard drives to Sebastian's apartment. He enters and searches for evidence or leads. As Deckard searches the cluttered mess of puppets and mannequins, he is surprised by a disguised Pris, who assaults him using acrobatics. As she performs a series of backflips to finish Deckard off, he shoots her through the abdomen. She spasms violently for a few moments before Deckard shoots her twice more and finally kills her. Deckard hears Roy arrive and takes up position in a nearby room. Roy comes in and finds Pris dead. He weeps and kisses her lifeless lips. He enters the next room. Deckard shoots at him but misses. Roy chides him, saying he's not being very sporting to fire on an unarmed opponent. A game of cat and mouse starts, with Roy stalking Deckard throughout the apartment. At one point, with Roy's incredible strength, he smashes his hand through a wall and seizes Deckard's pistol. He then deliberately breaks 2 of Deckard's fingers in retaliation for Zora and Pris. He gives him the gun back and releases his hand, but Deckard finds it impossible to shoot straight with 2 broken fingers. Roy gives him a few seconds head start to flee.
I'm gonna give you a few seconds before I come.
Deckard escapes to an upper floor in the building. Deckard keeps moving, but is in great pain and drops his gun. Roy easily catches up to him. Deckard seizes an opportunity to beat Roy with a large pipe, but he cannot incapacitate Roy, whose superhuman strength is too much for Deckard.
That's the spirit!
Deckard eventually escapes onto a window ledge and climbs to the roof. Roy watches and laughs as he struggles. Roy appears moments later on the roof. Deckard tries to escape by jumping to another roof across the street, but barely makes it to the ledge. He nearly plummets, hanging on by one hand. Roy, holding a white dove he found on the roof, makes the jump quite easily and peers over the ledge at Deckard, saying, "Quite an experience to live in fear, isn't it? That's what it is to be a slave." Deckard slips and Roy catches his arm with one hand, pulling him up to safety. Roy sits down near him and tells Deckard that he's seen more in his short life than most humans would see in a full lifetime. Roy is saddened by the idea that all the memories he's acquired will be lost, like tears in rain.
Like tears in rain.
Then, echoing the last thing Leon said to Deckard, Roy says time to die. As he finally dies, the dove in his hand flies off. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to see more cool recaps.